What's good, YouTube? Dmgaming here, guys, and in today's video, I'm going to put the O in Ghost of Tsushima. Let's go. Alright guys, so today is a huge day for Ghost of Tsushima fans and people who, well, I'm going to say fans, I'm a fan, but we haven't played the game, but you get what I'm saying. State of Play is going to be completely dedicated to Ghost of Tsushima today, and that is at 1 o'clock Pacific time, should be around 3 o'clock Central time, 4 o'clock Eastern time, guys. And in this, they're going to do an extended look at the game, the open world, the combat, and things like that. In this video today, guys, I'm going to give you some backdrop that is going to make all of this make sense. Because let's be real, Sony hasn't done a good job of marketing this game. This game was talked about 2 years ago at E3. And at that point, they were already 3 years into development. So a ton of development has went into this game. And it seems that Sony is pushing more of The Last of Us than they are Ghost of Tsushima. But guys, after looking at today's video and the history behind it all, you are going to come to find out that Ghost of Tsushima probably is going to be better than The Last of Us, guys. But before we get into that, guys, please hit that subscribe button and join the stack. Also, guys, by joining the channel, you have opportunity to reach the Geo Stack. And what the Geo Stack is, guys, is every month I'm going to choose 4 guys, 4 girls or guys, doesn't matter, 4 people who will win a $10 PlayStation gift card or Xbox of your choosing. Now, guys, the more that the channel grows, the more that that amount will rise and stuff like that. So, you know, subscribe if you want more, I guess, essentially. But anyway, guys, today I want to give some backdrop on this, okay? And we're going to start with the history of where this game is coming from. And it's around the 1267 to 1273, somewhere between that timeline. This is the time where Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, is basically, I'm just going to paraphrase a lot of stuff, guys, because we'll be here all day talking about this, basically running the Mongolian Empire. And he's taken over much of what we know today as China and North Korea, South Korea. And Japan is in the shogun phase of its history. So what is the shogun? The shogun are essentially military dictators, and they basically run Japan in a sense, and it's a lineage type of thing. And the emperor is more or less the face of Japan at this point, but the shogun run Japan. And the shogun in Japan do trade with the Song dynasty, who is enemies to the I'm gonna just call them Mongolians. The Mongolian Empire is basically what it is. And so this is a point in time where they've taken over much of this area here, which is, like I said, modern day China and North and South Korea and stuff like that. And you have the island of Tsushima. And let me try to fast forward here. Let's go to this part here, okay? Because this is the island of Tsushima. And guys, it's a pretty big island. So as far as how big this open world is going to be, it's going to be pretty vast. Okay. And I'm going to do a video later talking about the island, looking at some of the major points of interest on that island at this point in time in history, because guys, those things are going to be in the game. Okay. So basically what happened with the Mongolian Empire is Kublai Khan, basically their forces came here, and this was one of their first stops in taking over Japan. They basically took over the island of Tsushima, and that is where the game takes place, where they come in, they take over the island. The island was taken over, and a lot of people died, and the main character of Ghost of Tsushima was one of the main survivors of this, okay? And from there, as far as the story of history goes, they went later to Japan, the coast, where they did defeat a lot of people on the coast there as well. But once the Mongolians got into the mainland, things broke down for them because they weren't used to the area. The people there, the samurai knew the area more, so they were better at combat at them and essentially chased them off. And while they were coming back through here, retreating, there was a typhoon, monsoon, something. There was storms that broke out that sunk a lot of their ships, and the rest of them ended up making it back. But that puts us in this point in history, guys. And that's where Ghost of Tsushima comes in. So let's roll some B-roll footage while I tell you a little bit about the samurai history, guys. It's not like you see in Western civilization where the samurai is this honorable, super godlike thing or person. Japan, the way that the samurais evolved, they basically started as basically like merchants, like they were hired militiamen in a sense, if you will, and they basically made up the army. The army, they were more army-like. People get samurai confused with like ninjas. Ninjas were the more in the shadow type guys and stuff like that. And as far as the level of notoriety, fame, popularity, ninjas were actually lower. Shinobi, they were lower than the samurai. Ninjas were like the lower of the low. But anyway, and during this time in history, Buddhism and stuff spread across this region, and they took on what we know is what's called Bushido. And what Bushido is, it's basically the code of the samurai. And you hear that in the story trailer, which I'm going to break down as well, but you hear that in there. And that's what we know as samurai today, the whole code of the samurai. But my point is, it wasn't always like that for the samurai. Even during the Shogun era in Japan, samurai weren't exalted like they are now. Later on, they would have been, where they would have status and stuff like that. But it wasn't the case at this point in time. So taking on Bushido, or the code of the samurai, this is also where originated, it's called seppuku, if I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Or harakiri. And what that is basically, if you've ever seen a samurai movie or something where they take the blade and they cut it across their stomach and disembowel themselves. So that's where that kind of originated from, the code of honor with Bushido and the samurai. It was like they would do that so if they got captured, doing that was better. Dying like that was better than being captured by your enemy and taken hostage. It was also, they would do it when certain shogun would take over a pass or something to that effect. It's a long history into that. Look into it. It's amazing. But for the sake of the video, I gotta move on, guys. So that's pretty much like the history. That puts us where we're at in this timeline. You see what I'm saying? And that story alone already, even from a historical standpoint, guys, makes you want to play this game more. I think the biggest thing, like with Assassin's Creed games, is that Assassin's Creeds are based off of like history in a sense, and that's what makes those games cool. Now, the combat, that's probably something that we're going to be seeing today. And some interesting things about the combat that you may not know is that you start out as the samurai, and you're fighting the code of the samurai. You're honorable and things like that. But the Ghost of Tsushima is basically somebody that you become as the story progresses. So they didn't talk much about skill trees, but more or less you're going to be meeting people along the way who are going to be teaching you different techniques and different, basically kind of evolving your way of thinking, because the way of the samurai just isn't gonna defeat the Mongolians. It's not gonna work. You're gonna be defeated that way. So you have to take on this sort of new way of thinking. And the way that the game implements that is by meeting people along the way that teach you different philosophies as well as different moves and stuff like that. One of the moves that they have in the game is a chain assassination. And basically, think Assassin's Creed, whenever you fight with Assassin's Creed, where, you could do the assassin blade. And if you push the button at the right time, they go and attack somebody else and then somebody else. That's going to be in this game as well. And then they also have a shoji assassination. And what that is, and I don't know if it'll get there in the gameplay, but the shoji assassination, and if I'm pronouncing that wrong too, y'all, I'm sorry. Let me see if they have it right here. Yes, let's go to this part here, because that's going to show it. This is going to show the chain assassination. See, he's marking all the targets. He comes down, and then you push that button at the right time. You go to the next guy. You push it again at the right time. You go to the next guy. Now, I think once you unlock these skills, those things will be able to be upgraded. And this is the shoji assassination. Now, pause right there, guys, because That guy was finna blow a horn. If he blows that horn, then guess what's gonna happen? Reinforcements are gonna come in. Now, an interesting thing is that he could have went around front and attacked the guy, but Shoji assassination is something that you learn along the way. And so when you learn these new skills, you're able to implement them in the game a bit more. And I'm just checking my notes, guys, because there's so much stuff here. As far as like the open world, like I said, there are no waypoints, as to say there's more points of interest that will follow the story and stuff like that. And the open world's pretty vast and it's pretty alive, guys. They hadn't released the map size or anything like that, but they have shown and talked about how big the map is, how interactive it is. I mean, you see even in here with the gameplay, the leaves and stuff blowing around and stuff. And the dark vibe, guys, is an homage to the older samurai movies and things like that. But I like that because it's a darker vibe, but then you have stuff like those leaves are vibrant in color and stuff like that. They talk about how in the open world, that mud and stuff will sling on your character, blood and things like that. And when you go through a water puddle or a range or something like that, those things get washed off. So it's very interactive and very intuitive. And it's really, really cool because even in this fight, you see them moving around, that how the leaves move around with them and stuff like that. And guys, I can't wait to play this game. I really cannot wait to play this game. But what I want to do real quick before we end the video is go through this story trailer here. And let me... Okay, we got the audio output. Let's play through the trailer and we'll go through that as well. So let's break down the trailer. Everything's going to come together. So when you see this is the story trailer, it makes sense. So you're starting right here, and I'm gonna be honest, guys, I don't know the guy's name, but his master or teacher is basically telling him about the way of the samurai. You see what I'm saying? That samurai are noble, samurai are honorable people. And this is how you start out in the game. But like I said, as the game progresses, then you get to the point where you become more and more of the ghost. I'm going to put my headphones on so I can hear what's going on as well. So sorry about that, y'all. And so this point in the trailer is 15 years later, where the Mongolians invade this is where the Mongolians invade the island of Tsushima on the coast. So that's where they're at right here. Now, one thing I also want to point out is that in the game, you can do Japanese audio with English subtitles. And the Mongolians, guess what? They're going to speak Mongolian in the game. And I think they have had it to where you can have English subtitles on that too. But they said the reason they kept it as Mongolian, their language, because it gives off a better vibe in the game. Okay, and so right there, this part here, those are the Mongolian ships coming along the shore of Tsushima, how you pronounce it. Right here is the Mongolian striking down one of the samurai guys. That's not a samurai doing that. That's a Mongolian. Masukai, that's his name. Now, right here, I don't know if this is a general in Kublai Khan's army or if this is Kublai Khan himself in the game. I don't know yet. But this gentleman is talking to Masukai, and basically he's noticed how ruthless and savage he's become. Like, and that's not the way of the samurai. You know what I'm saying? Masakai's leader will tell him that, like, you know, you're becoming something different. But this guy is noticing this. And even though him and this other gentleman back here is captured, he's basically noticing that. And he's like, join our army. You know what I'm saying? See, and that's foreshadowing. That's foreshadowing to what's coming up. He's like still kind of in that. He's not taking on the full role of the ghost in a sense, but he's getting there. He's getting there. And here, now you see the transitioning of him into the ghost, which is not the way of the samurai. Like we saw at the beginning, where his leader was telling him that samurai are honorable. You know, they fight with honor and pride. They're not savage. They're not ruthless. They're not sneaky like that, you know, like the Mongolians are, you know. But now he's becoming more like them, basically saying, you know what, the way of the samurai isn't working. We're going to go about this a different way. And so his tactics change. His skill sets change. You know, he's more ruthless and savage. And there's no honor in his combat because the Mongolians weren't honorable when they attacked them. And that's what you're seeing here. The different tactics right there where he was swinging, like he's getting different abilities as well. That's a different move set right there. Right here, he has the grapple hook right there where he swings right here. That's something different as well. Right here, you have a sneak attack. The sneak attack is not the way of the samurai. That's, you know, that's something a ninja would do. And like I said, as far as society in feudal Japan, shinobi and ninjas were the type of people that did that, not samurai. Samurai were too honorable for that.
I've never seen a samurai fight like that.
See, and he, you know, but at this point, he's not a ghost. He's just showing, this is probably more or less, you know, towards before the war broke out or something in the game, where he's probably telling, you know, just showing that he has potential, he has talent. But they're using it in the game to foreshadow him becoming something other than a samurai.
There's nothing.
See, this is more like I said, before the war breaks out, but they're foreshadowing. See that? It's all foreshadowing. See, she said he's a vengeful spirit. So even then, they noticed something inside of Masakai that, like I said, as the story plays out, you're going to realize more and more.
From the grave to slaughter the Mongols.
And see how he went from here like a samurai to more here becoming more like the ghost. So guys, it's going to be a journey. We're going to be taken on a journey, and we're going to get to see a lot of great character progression. See? See right here? See that, man? Like, even in the story trailer, you can see that transition. I can't wait to see the character development in this. Now we're looking at the ghost. Now we're looking at the savage ruthlessness. The win at all costs. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where we're at right now. And they said there's going to be a lot of multi enemies to fight, but there are going to be like major one-on-ones. And see, there's the what is it called again? The Shoji assassination that I talked about earlier.
I am samurai. I will sacrifice everything for my home.
And we know it's coming out later than June, guys, but that is it in a nutshell, man. I hope that, you know, that this video has been informative, guys, because after learning this information, especially about the history, this game makes more sense. And I am strongly believing that, guys, you know, people talk about Cyberpunk 2077 and stuff like that, but guys, there's more that goes into the game of the year than popularity. It's really about what this game does. And Masakai is a guy that I'm already intrigued by, wanting to learn more about him. I can't wait to see his character development. It's kind of, if you would think about Infamous, and this is a very interesting thing because they took away from a lot of different games. Let's just roll some beat footage while I'm still talking here. If you think about the Infamous games, how they talked about, or you remember in Infamous where you kind of had an option to be good or bad. It's not so much that, like, you're gonna change to the ghost. That's the only way to beat the game. It's not saying that you have a choice, but the same way that they did in Infamous where he got good and bad, like that transition, it's gonna be similar to that in this game where you're gonna see him start out one way and he's gonna end the game a different way, or it's gonna be later on, it's gonna be a different way. And you can see a lot of influences from Assassin's Creed games and things like that as well. All in all, guys, I cannot wait to watch this state of play. And after understanding this information about the history, where they're coming from, guys, they actually went to Japan to study the history, the culture, to map out the land and everything like that. In an interview that he talked about in E3, they even said that it almost leaked, like before they even announced it, because they went over there to kind of map out the island and stuff for the game and stuff. So, you know, it's going to be awesome, guys. This game is going to be better. You need to have it on your radar. You need to be paying attention to it. And a lot of people are going to be talking about this state of play after it's over. This video is going up before this. So watch and see what I tell you. Once state of play comes out, people are going to be really impressed with this game, and it's going to be trending. People are going to be talking about it, guys, because the background, the story, where it's leading to, is going to be dope, guys. And what I'm going to be doing in the future is kind of taking what I did in today's video and taking more sections and breaking that down as well. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit that like button, turn on all notifications, guys, because it's getting real. That's all I got for right now, y'all. Till next time, thanks for watching. Let me get your intro out. Peace.